Welcome aboard Blue Moon. I'm Gillian, and this is Jonas. We live aboard our 1978 Catalina 30 sailboat. Join us while we explore the West Coast by land and sea, while living in our tiny floating home. If you enjoy these videos, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more content. Thanks for watching!
Hi.
Get her done?
Yeah.
What do you think? Breakfast?
Yeah. Egg sandwiches. Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday morning here. I just got back from my morning walk over to the bathrooms. We have a head on board, but our holding tank is only pumped out once a week. It helps if we go use the public facilities occasionally. And now we're gonna make some breakfast.
Get a little bit too messy. Breakfast time. You can hear the pump running. That means we're out of water.
Doesn't shut off.
Turn the pump on.
We have way more than I thought. I'm just gonna go fill up our water tanks. We use a paint scraper to screw open the caps for the tanks. We had another one of these, but I dropped it overboard, so we're using a butter knife for a while. Feel like we should put a floaty on this or something in case I drop it again. We have to fill up our water tanks about once a week, sometimes a bit more. We can tell the water tanks are empty once the sink starts sputtering and the pump stays on. It won't turn itself off, so that's when we know we're empty. And it's really easy. We just run a hose from a spigot here on the dock and drag it over the front. So we'll show you what that looks like. You can also get something called a deck key to open the caps, but these work just as well, and it's a little more disposable in case I do drop it. How's my hair?
It looks really good.
Okay.
Our drinking jugs.
This is the hose we use. So there's a spigot on this side. We can just run it over the bow and the tanks. It's windy today. So we just filled up the water bottles. We fill up these blue, I think they're 5-gallon jugs for our drinking water, just in case. We're not sure about the condition of the tanks. We don't know if there's anything in there that we don't want to be drinking. One day we'll probably clean the whole system.
Hi. I think they're probably fine. Nothing besides water should have ever been put in there, but just since they're like the boat's 40.
Was there antifreeze in there?
Oh yeah, there's tons of antifreeze in there when we got the boat.
Yeah.
That's obviously all through now, and it was like, that's non-toxic because I'm assuming they use the plumbing antifreeze. Just because they're 40-year-old tanks, the water, we use the water in the tanks to brush our teeth, to do our dishes, sometimes like to wash produce, but just for drinking water, I feel way better about drinking out of the blue jugs. And we go through those blue jugs like crazy. Bringing more water on board just helps us have to fill up the whole system less. I'll wait for the bells to stop. Right outside our door we have these bells that go off on the hour, which is kind of nice. Helps you tell time. It is 3 o'clock right now, but they can get a little loud. It's turned into a super gorgeous day. Jonas just went out for a walk and I'm catching up on some readings. The weather these past few days has been really crazy. For example, this morning we woke up and it was super cold. Partly maybe because we forgot to turn a space heater on last night. It's warmed right up today. It's been really windy too these last few days, which is kind of weird. We've had clear blue skies, super sunny, but the winds have just been howling non-stop. When you're living on a boat, you're so much closer to the environment than you would be if you're living, for example, in a house. When it's windy or if it's stormy, we feel all of those movements. The wind not only pushes the boat itself, but also the choppy waters can cause for some pretty rough nights. We definitely have a lot more restless nights when it's stormy. Things are just really loud. You know, wind howls through the masts. Some sailboats have their halyards clinging against the mast. Some people's wind generators make like this really weird like bzzz noise. There's a lot of new sounds that you kind of have to get used to that I wasn't accustomed to previously. We put a tarp over the boom when it gets really rainy to keep all of the rain out. The boat's pretty good in terms of leaks, but there is the occasional little leak that comes in when it rains a lot. Plus, when we walk out of the boat, if the tarp's up, it shelters the rain from getting inside the cabin. But we have to keep an eye on the weather conditions because when big windstorms pass through, we like to take the tarp down. The tarp can be really noisy in the wind. Also, it jolts the boat around a lot more because it essentially acts as a big sail. And I just think it's better for the boat, like the less stress on it, the better in my opinion. So we've been really lucky these past few weeks. The rains have settled down, so we've been able to have the tarp off and we don't have to worry about the wind as much. But yeah, they're calling for some super cold weather this week. I think on Wednesday it's supposed to get down to -8 Celsius, which is by far the coldest weather we've had on the boat yet. A few weeks ago, we had one of the worst storms of the season. What do you think?
It's pretty crazy.
Losing their sail. We're gonna have to watch these surfboards.
Yeah. What's going on?
Got a bit of a storm in Victoria. No, but this is definitely our worst storm yet, I think.
What time is it?
It's 12:30. We just ran out and took the tarp down. It kind of acts as a big sail in the wind, so hopefully this will sort of help with some of the jolting inside the cabin. Normally we can fall asleep when these wind storms come, but I think this is a particularly bad one. We saw quite a few other liveaboards out on the docks inspecting things, so yeah, might be a bit of a sleepless night. Things were very rough and very choppy. Jonas and I had a very sleepless night. We ended up both wearing earplugs, and we actually took some gravel to help with motion sickness. But yeah, Jonas had work the next morning. It's just another challenge of living on a boat where we have one less barrier between us and the environment. And I personally really love that. Living a lifestyle like this is you really get to connect with your environment rather than being in a house which essentially blocks out as much nature or environment as you want. It's one challenge, but also one really beautiful thing about living like this. I have a tough time getting to sleep when it is really windy out, so anytime I know we're gonna have a windy night, I'll put earplugs in, and that does a really good job at helping me get to sleep and staying asleep. Overall, I feel like I'm getting a lot more used to it. When I first got on the boat, especially when I was sleeping on the mooring ball alone, I had a really tough time getting to sleep. I would wake up, and it's funny, lots of times I would actually wake up and get out of bed and check. I needed to see that I was still attached to the mooring ball. I don't know why. It was just one of those things that I was out of my regular element. But yeah, I've come a long ways from then, and now it's more just that the noise bothers me. On really bad nights, if I have earplugs plus some sort of white noise, I find that I can fall asleep a lot easier and stay asleep.
Thanks so much for watching this video. We really didn't feel like cooking today, so we just got some noodle box and are gonna watch some TV and have a quiet night here. So we hope you enjoyed the video.
Yeah, keep an eye out. We're gonna do an update on how the insulation in the V-berth worked in the next couple weeks for sure. So keep an eye out for that if you're curious, if you watched our last video and if you're curious about how it's going. Good night.
Wow.
What a beautiful night.